Listen, if you're looking for that video that tells you to eat ice cream and that it all takes time, this isn't the video for you. Well, I mean, it is the video for you, but I ain't got the answers. I ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway.
You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway.
Before we get started, I wanted to make a really quick announcement. The AM with Amy will be happening probably every other week, bi-weekly, just because I feel like I'm running out of topics to talk about and I don't want to post just to post. If my heart's really in it, I'll definitely do a topic. And as always, we just walked all over my laptop. As always, you guys can always DM me, tweet me with the hashtag the AM with Amy, and your question might be featured. So hands down, by and large, the question that I get asked most to cover is how to get over your ex or how to get over a breakup. A little over a year ago, I went through my own breakup and it was such a hard breakup because he was my first real love, like my first real love. I'll be honest with you, the reason why I avoided it for so long was because I myself didn't know. I felt like it took forever for me to get over it, but I think just a couple months ago I started to genuinely feel better and I feel 100% myself again. Here are all the books, the movies, the podcasts, everything that I searched and went and found because of my heartbreak, and I'm calling this the Amy Vagabond starter pack for the brokenhearted. So let's get into it. Number one, there is no cure. I'm gonna just be super honest and real with you. There is no panacea to heartbreak, and people will tell you that time heals everything, but I genuinely believe that heartbreak, if it's that intense and if it's that real, it's something that we carry with ourselves all throughout our life. I know for some people that might be very disheartening to hear, but for me, I kind of see it as a very beautiful thing. It's like when we shared something so intense that of course it's gonna impact my heart and my soul for the rest of my life. And in the same way that we carry our heartache, we also carry new love with us. And I don't know. And also people will tell you that there will just be one day where you don't think about them. But me being an overanalyzer and overthinker, I fucking think about the shit that I said in 2008 at a party in college to a random dude and how awkward I was. And I still think about that in the shower. So if I'm spending a good amount of time with someone I truly love, of course I'm gonna think about them. And I still think about the people that I even dated back when I was like 17. So I'm just gonna be really honest with you, there really is no cure and I don't think you ever really get over it. And so grappling with that fact or that perspective is what helped me really let go of any expectations that I should just be over it, you know? Number two, listen to yourself and your needs. I started to realize early on that I am the type of person who needs a lot of time to heal and to spend time with myself. I'm not the type of person that can quickly rebound and can quickly just date and move on to other people, because for me it takes so much to feel and be in love that when I do, it takes years for me to come down. And I'm not someone that, you know, falls for people very easily, so I think it goes the other way. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's like I don't fall for people easily, but at the same time, like I can't get over people easily because I'm so set on that one person. And I can count on my hand all the people in my life that I've genuinely liked or had crushes on or loved. Even my mom, I remember, told me just get a new boyfriend. Like as soon as I got out of my relationship, she was like, just move on, get a new boyfriend. And one of my friends jokingly said, to get over somebody, you have to get under somebody. But a week after I broke up, I went on a date and I had an awesome time with the guy. He was a great, smart, funny guy. But I remember he went in to lean in and kiss me. And I remember thinking in that moment, I'm going to start falling in your mouth. And I just immediately jerked away and I decided to go home right away. I just made an excuse. And that was a very key moment in time where I realized, like, I cannot jump into other things really quickly. Like I really need time to be introspective and to really figure out what's going on with me. And so if you know yourself and if you are someone that thrives in finding new love, then you know yourself. Go on dates. And if you're like me, then take your time. Don't ever feel pressured to do something because that's what other people can do. The hardest part about that was getting frustrated with myself about not being able to move on. And I would go on dates with awesome guys, but I just would not feel anything. And it honestly felt like it took forever, but if I'm being real with you, you cannot rush your healing. You know yourself best, and whatever feels right and whatever feels good with you, listen to that and listen to yourself and listen to your needs. There are gonna be weeks where you have awesome weeks, and there are gonna be weeks that you are just in the frozen pizza aisle at Ralph's and you're having a breakdown. You start crying because frozen pizza reminds you of somebody. But I've had breakdowns where I was just doing the dishes and I was feeling good, and then I don't know, it just came out. So listen to yourself and your needs. Number three, practice practice radical forgiveness. And you are probably feeling awful right now. You're probably feeling shitty and insecure, and maybe you feel even resentful towards your ex. But honestly, holding on to resentment or anger is like holding a piece of coal with the intention of throwing it at someone, but you just end up getting burned yourself. So let it go, forgive yourself, and forgive your partner, because the problem is not what you're feeling. The problem is what you're letting yourself think because of what you're feeling. I think that's one of my favorite quotes. Remember that the right person at the wrong time is just the wrong person, and you cannot rush something that you want to last forever, like a lifetime love. In all actuality, you will be too much for people and you will be too little for some people. These are not your people, so practice radical forgiveness. Number 4, don't stay alone. I am an introvert, so I gain energy by being alone, but that is the worst place to be when you are going through a breakup, because the moment that you are alone, you go down a dark abyss of amazingly evil and negative thoughts. So reach out to your friends and family, try to stay active, and reach out to friends that you haven't seen in a while, because I'm sure you haven't seen a few in a while. Diego and one of my really good friends, Raynalyn, who is a joy in my life. Those are 2 very direct examples of people that I met right after my breakup because I felt very alone and I wanted to reach out to people. So try to take your pain and make it into something powerful, because you are not alone. Everyone goes through breakups, and try to make this a positive experience by reaching out to friends and really connecting and bonding with the relationships that you already have in your life or have not yet made. Number 5, work on yourself, by yourself, for yourself. If there's anyone that is a huge advocate for this, it is me. I feel like I should have a slogan of this on my door outside my place, because I truly believe that a relationship, a really positive and healthy one, is 2 100% full people coming together to make a 200%, as Jaden Smith says. I think a lot of people have this idea it's like 2 halves coming together, but I want to be a full and whole person that when we come together, it's just an even more full life. The first thing that I really like to do, besides throwing myself more into my work life, I love to work out. And I know that sounds really weird. It's probably something you don't feel like doing, but actually for me, I get the most motivation and the most drive to go running, because I literally visualize myself running away from that person or my set of problems, and I run the fastest I have ever run. And cardio is such an amazing thing, because I also get an endorphin release. And I started doing ClassPass right after my breakup, and I would go to classes up by myself alone. I would do HIIT cardio, boxing, everything. If you guys want to join ClassPass, I'm gonna have a link down below, because it's basically unlimited membership to all these different studios. It is amazing. I don't ever feel super committed because I kind of have commitment issues. No, I'm just kidding. But Revenge Body is totally a thing. Go out and take that class that you've always wanted to do. Go out and take that painting lesson. Go out and skydive. Go and do that dance class. Do what you've always wanted to do, but you just haven't done yet. And also go listen to the music that your ex hated. Go eat the foods that they hated but you liked. I think that was one of my most favorite things to do after my breakup. He hated Justin Bieber, and I like Justin Bieber, so I would blast that on high all the time as I was driving. Your life does not stop just because someone isn't in it. Also, if you see my bra, that is intentional. It is a deep V. Number 6, if your resources allow it, go seek professional help. Go see a therapist. Online therapy is a thing. I am such a huge advocate for mental health and mental awareness. If you guys didn't know, I actually tried online therapy for about a month, but it didn't really work out for me, but only because I just know that I'm a very hard person to like get my emotions out there. So online therapy is not for me. I definitely need in-person therapy. But if you also can't do that, I would highly recommend journaling, because journaling, it actually gets rid of that kind of third-person perspective of judgment and evaluation that I feel myself personally when I go and see a therapist or talk to an online therapist. So I like journaling because I can write the most volatile, putrid thoughts without feeling judged, and I can be genuine and real and raw. And I actually really like journaling because it actually helps me put into perspective of where I was even just a month ago or 5 months ago or a year ago. I was reading my journal entry from December, and I was in a completely different space than I am now. It's only been like, what, 3 months since then? So I really like tracking my progress, and journaling is just a really cathartic way for me to let go of all the things I've been thinking about. Fear not if you don't have the resources to find a therapist or online therapist. There are so many resources out there that help me, and the first one I want to mention is The Mastery of Love by Miguel Ruiz. And this is a book that is written by the same guy who did the 4 Agreements Agreements, which is one of my favorite books, and it's very simplistic. It's about the simple truths of what the root of love is and how we can truly find true happiness. I said truly a lot. It's more of a philosophical book than it is something more practical. Like if you're looking for how to communicate better with my partner, this is not the book for you, but this is just something that enlightened and made my soul feel a little bit lighter. So I would actually recommend reading both his books, or there's a bunch, but The 4 Agreements and The Mastery of Love. And the second book that I read immediately after I went through a breakup was The Book of Joy by the Dalai Lama and the Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And this is just a book about how to find joy in your life. And joy is not to be synonymous with happiness. It's about just inner contentment and an inner kind of serenity, I feel. I found a lot of enlightenment in this book, and I think it's a book that everybody should read, not even just going through a breakup. It is one of my favorite books of all time, and your girl Oprah loves it as well. That's actually how I found out about it. This is a podcast that I mentioned a couple times. It's Brooke Castillo's The Life School Coach, and this is a specific episode called Love 2.0, and it basically covers the idea of how all of us just want to be loved, and everything is rooted in that sense of wanting to be loved. Your anger, your resentment, your jealousy, your envy, all of that is just because we want to be loved. And this really opened up my eyes to being a little bit more compassionate. One of the things that she said that really stuck with me was when we remember that contrast is a part of the human experience. So contrast meaning when someone is being negative, or when someone is being pushy, or just all the like negative things that we think of people. When we remember that all of that is a part of the human experience, we stop using it as an excuse to not love somebody. So check out that podcast. The link is going to be down below. The third book I want to recommend is actually a book that Raina Lynn lent to me, and it's called Tiny Beautiful Things: Advice on Love and Life from Dear Sugar. And Dear Sugar is someone who used to be anonymous online, and basically she just has an advice column and people write in their problems and she responds, and I love the advice she gives. It's raw and witty and clever, and it's just woke. It's woke. So check out that book. And I know Raina Lynn got that because she was going through loss in her family, and it really helped her out as well. So just anything having to do with the hardships of life, I would definitely check out that book. I used to listen to this podcast every single day for a year when I was going through my breakup, and it's actually one of the key factors in helping me heal, and it's called Optimal Living Daily. You guys know I've always talked about that, and I just recently met up with Justin Malik and his business partner, so it's crazy how all the worlds collide. But I highly recommend that podcast network in general, Optimal Living Daily, and there's Optimal Finance Daily, Optimal Relationships Daily, and this one is a podcast episode on about compatibility, and it's called Psychology Finally Reveals the Answer to Finding Your Soulmate. I really like this podcast episode because it basically talks about debunking this idea of being compatible with someone, because Americans are very individualistic as a society, and so we kind of like to tend to say everything is a compatibility issue. But they say in this podcast, or in this article, it says it's not who you are or what you do that will help you find you a soulmate or lasting love, but it's how you speak to each other and how well you get along and how you move through time together with each other. So I really liked it, and I think it teaches me how to be a better lover, and so I think everyone should listen to this. And I sent this to my brother and my mom and everything, because it's very important to hear, even if you are currently in a relationship. So if you're happily taken, go ahead and listen to this podcast, because it'll spin things in a different way. As far as playlists, I made a playlist years and years ago about how you need to get on with your life and move on, and you don't need this man or no man in your life. So I'm gonna leave that playlist link down below, or I might just write down the songs down below, because I don't feel comfortable giving my Spotify out to everybody. I don't know why. It just feels weird. Like, music is such a personal thing for me, but one day I'll get over that. Also, I listen to a lot of Hilary Duff sometimes. There are a lot of movies that you could watch about heartbreak and stuff, but I would highly recommend staying away from rom-coms. A movie that I would recommend is called Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and it's written by Charlie Kaufman, and I just think that the movie is so real and raw, and it's just a beautiful work of art in and of itself. And I cried a lot because it's so real. It's like about essentially erasing your memory of your love or of somebody. I think it's something that everybody needs to watch, especially if you're heartbroken. And yeah, it's not necessarily a rom-com. I think that's why I like it most. But a movie that I would probably stay away from is Blue Valentine. I think I watched that after going through a breakup in college, and I was like, oh my god, this feels so awful. Like, I don't want to leave my house for a week. So I would actually stay away from that movie. Last but not least, number 7, don't chase, no hoes. I have too much pride for this, so I only really date people who are super interested in me, and that's just my personal policy. Like, I do not, it might sound narcissistic, but I genuinely don't feel as though we need to chase people in this lifetime. Actually, one of my favorite quotes from Tiny Beautiful Things was, "You cannot convince people to love you. This is an absolute rule. No one will ever give you love because you want him or her to give it. Real love moves freely in both directions. Don't waste your time on anything else." And I tweeted something about it earlier. It was like, never chase love, affection, or attention. If it isn't freely given, it's not worth having. And I really believe that. So don't chase no hoes, y'all. Alright, so the last thing I think is super important and key, I have a Google Excel sheet that I want you guys to edit and actually put your own input. I think this is a really fun, resourceful thing that we can all keep in the back of our pockets, and you just fill out how long you were in a relationship, the first thing you did, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, and just general tips and advice. And it would just be something that we can add into our starter pack for the brokenhearted. I think it's fun. I've already filled it out, and you don't have to use your real name if you don't feel comfortable doing that. You can use like a pseudonym. I don't really care, but I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that you're feeling a little bit better about yourself. I know it's hard, but everyone goes through this and you're not alone. That's so important. Hit that subscribe button if you like this video, and I will see you guys next week, or hopefully this week. Bye! I need to stop it.